Hey guys, this is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com, and we're going to be breaking down 5 in-state recruits Michigan fans need to know in the 2025 recruiting class. The 2024 class is almost full, so we're going to be focusing in on some underclassmen today. Before we talk about them, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to the Wolverine.com today for $99.99 for a year or $9.99 per month. Now is the perfect time to sign up with football season right around the corner. Get all your latest team information, recruiting information, basketball recruiting, NIL, transfer portal, and so much more over on the Wolverine.com today. Plus, you get to join a message board community with more than 8,000 unique individual users over on the Fort. Come join the discussion and get the latest on Michigan football and recruiting and so much more over on the Wolverine.com today. Also, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for free. All right, guys, like I said, we're going to be breaking down 5 2025 in-state recruits that Michigan fans need to know. The obvious number one is Bryce Underwood, 5-star quarterback out of Belleville, ranked as the number 1 quarterback in the country and the number 1 overall prospect nationally per the On3 industry ranking, which combines all 4 major recruiting services. Now, Underwood is the obvious big fish, not just in the state of Michigan, but overall. He is the top of the top prospect on Michigan's recruiting board in the 2025 recruiting class. Michigan needs to land an elite quarterback, and Bryce Underwood is definitely that guy. I think Jaden Davis is a very, very good prospect that can definitely move the chains, manage an offense, have plenty of success in Ann Arbor, but Bryce Underwood is a special talent, and there aren't too many guys that are real can't-miss prospects. I think when you look at Bryce Underwood, he's pretty much a can't-miss prospect. The Wolverines obviously did miss on Dante Moore, who was a 5-star quarterback out of Detroit King a couple cycles ago, or last cycle. So, I think with Bryce Underwood, it's time to seal the deal in your own backyard. I mean, you have a potential generational talent, a guy that can be a Heisman Trophy winner down the line. He just brings so much to the table. He's a big frame pocket passer at 6'3", 210 pounds. I'd venture to say he's closer to 6'4". I mean, he's built like an action figure. He's just so physically imposing, and he can run. He's a bigger threat than Jaden Davis with his legs for sure. He's not a guy that's going to be like a J.J. McCarthy. Let me scramble around and have this escapability in the pocket, but he can definitely run the read option. You see that on film. He's a threat with his legs when he wants to be, but what makes Bryce really special is just his ability in the pocket. I mean, this is a guy that's been starting at Belleville since he was 14 years old, and as a true freshman led Belleville to a state championship. His knowledge of the game, his ability to process is phenomenal, and his arm talent is out of this world. I mean, this is a guy that can throw the deep ball as well as anybody. And when you look at his film, I mean, the thing that really stands out to me is the ball placement. I mean, elite level ball placement. I mentioned this on a YouTube show a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't really find a good comparison for Bryce Underwood. But when you look at that ball placement, man, and him wearing that 19 jersey, it literally looks like Johnny Unitas placing those balls. And obviously that's very lofty, Unitas being arguably the greatest quarterback ever. So I think Underwood has that type of talent, though. The arm talent, the ball placement, the ability to run. I mean, he checks so many boxes, and he's right in your own backyard, man. He's like half an hour from campus. So I think, missing on Dante Moore hurt. I think missing on Bryce Underwood would hurt even more. So where did things stand right now? I really believe this is a Michigan-LSU battle. I think it's going to come down to his visits to both schools in the fall. I think LSU has an advantage of having a little bit more of an open NIL policy, where Michigan's still trying to figure that out. But I also think Michigan has the advantage of being closer to home. And he's so familiar with the program. He's been to Michigan so many times. He has a great relationship with quarterbacks coach Kirk Campbell. So it's going to be a really heated battle. We'll see how it all plays out in the end. But if Michigan can get Bryce Underwood, it's huge for the future of the program, and it's huge for the 2025 recruiting class, because I think Bryce will be a vocal leader. I feel like a lot of people were expecting Jaden Davis to be that, spokesperson for the class, which, he hasn't really been super vocal. I think Bryce Underwood would be extremely vocal. He's a guy that would get some elite wide receivers with him, which is what Michigan needs. They've struggled to land top guys at the position. I think Bryce Underwood's a solution for that for sure. All right, let's get to some of the other guys. I know we spent a lot of time on Bryce Underwood, so let's get to some of the other in-staters that Michigan fans need to know. Second on the list is Birmingham Groves offensive lineman Avery Gach. He is ranked as the number 8 interior offensive lineman and number 163 overall prospect nationally. So it's interesting that he's rated as an interior offensive lineman, 6'5", 265. I definitely think he can be a guard, but I also think he has the potential to play some right tackle. He obviously needs to add some weight to his frame, but you see some athleticism and some tenacity in the trenches. I think Gach is your typical Michigan Big Ten type of offensive lineman. No surprise that the other schools in the mix are Michigan State, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. He's been to Michigan on multiple occasions. The Wolverines just hosted him for the barbecue at the Big House. Michigan has the lead on the On3 recruiting prediction machine. I don't have a pick in yet, but I do think the Wolverines are trending in the right direction with Gach. He's one of the better offensive linemen on the board. I think next cycle is going to be a weaker year for offensive linemen just across the board nationally. But I also think it's going to be a smaller offensive class when you look at what Michigan is doing this cycle, taking 5 and potentially searching for a 6 in the fall if they can find the right guy. I think next cycle will be, a smaller class, maybe 3, potentially 4 guys, but Gach is one that they're really high on. And like I said, one of the better offensive linemen on the board and definitely one of the better in-state prospects. Next on the list is Xavier Newsom, 6'5", 220-pounder out of Detroit King, listed as a tight end, but Michigan's actually recruiting him as an edge prospect. So right now on the On3 industry ranking, he is ranked as the number 14 tight end and number 267 overall prospect nationally. So he's actually ranked really high as a tight end, but Michigan, again, really liking him on the defensive side of the ball. The Wolverines hosted him for the barbecue at the Big House. He's been to campus on numerous occasions. He's definitely a project guy. I've had a chance to see Newsom in 7-on-7, and he definitely has the frame. His nickname's actually Tree. He's a legit 6'5", 220. So you see the frame, you see the athleticism, but I still think he's super raw, more of a project guy right now, but definitely somebody that can be molded into something. Michigan took a really big edge class this cycle in the 2024 recruiting class, so I'm interested to see how many guys they take next cycle, if they take a chance on a really developmental upside prospect like Newsom. If they do push, I think Michigan definitely has the advantage. The Wolverines actually lead on the On3 recruiting prediction machine with an 86.1% chance of landing him. Next on the list is 3-star Detroit, University of Detroit, Jesuit high school athlete Elijah Dotson. I'm really fumbling words there, but Elijah Dotson out of Detroit Jesuit, 6'2", 175 pounds, listed as a wide receiver, ranked as the number 59 wide receiver and number 414 overall prospect nationally. But Michigan actually likes him on the defensive side of the ball. So another guy listed as an offensive recruit that Michigan's actually recruiting on defense. They like Dotson as kind of a flex guy in the secondary. They like his height and his length at 6'2", 175 for the cornerback position, but he can also play some safety and some nickel as well. I think you just consider him a Swiss Army knife, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up playing wide receiver as well. Like he definitely has ability on the offensive side of the ball, and they did like him there initially as well. So, he's a guy that has a chance to be a two-way player at the next level or end up on either side of the ball. I was talking secondary targets on the Wolverine the other day and didn't really mention Dotson just because I think you just penciled him in as an athlete. And I followed up my story by saying, yeah, I didn't really forget Dotson. It's just he can go so many different ways. Just put him down as an athlete. But he is a guy that Michigan really likes. I do think they would take an early pledge for him in the same fashion as Samaj Morgan. He might not be the highest rated guy, and Morgan wasn't either, but they just really like his ability and his attitude. They think he can be a program fit. I have my prediction in for Michigan, and the Wolverines actually have the lead on the On3 recruiting prediction machine with a 99.3% chance of landing him. Does have a couple of other P5 offers, Penn State, Pitt, Louisville, but I think the opportunity to play closer to home for Michigan is something that really stands out, and he loved his time at the barbecue at the Big House. Last on the list is Willie Fletcher. Not ranked, but an intriguing edge prospect at 6'3", 225 pounds out of Detroit King, so same school as Xavier Newsom. Fletcher also visited with Newsom for the barbecue at the Big House. Like Newsom, he's been to campus on numerous occasions. It's kind of the same thing. Fletcher isn't a guy that's really super impressive on film, but you see the athleticism, you see the length, you see the frame to add some really good weight, potentially be a 4-eye if he can carry that much weight. But right now, Michigan recruiting him more as a pass rusher. I think with Willie Fletcher, it's a lot of upside here. A guy that you can mold and develop into something. But like I mentioned when talking about Newsom, it'll be interesting to see how selective Michigan is with edge targets after taking a pretty big haul here in the 2024 recruiting class. But, if Michigan does push for Fletcher, I think they'll have the inside track. The Wolverines lead on the On3 recruiting prediction machine with an 83.8% chance of landing him. Does have some other P5 offers from Oregon and Penn State and Mizzou, Louisville, Pitt also have entered the mix for Fletcher. So even though he's not ranked right now, he is a guy with a pretty decent offer list. And like I said, just a lot of upside. Overall, it's not the strongest year in state, aside from Bryce Underwood. The only other top 200 prospect is Avery Gach. So I think a lot of intriguing guys like Newsom, Dotson, Fletcher. It'll be interesting to see if any other in-staters pop up during this season. That's all I got, guys. I appreciate your time. Remember to subscribe to thewolverine.com for $99.99 for a year or $9.99 for a month. Also, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for free.